So Ian, you're the photographer behind this piece. Please talk to me about it.
Well, Jack Vettriano, obviously wonderful artist in his own right, was very kind to sit to accompany an interview, and I was detailed to go and take a picture of him, and Jack came up with this wonderful concept of the chair and the shape, and we collaborated over the details, and I lit it nicely, luckily, and I think it's a lovely piece of work.
Was the idea something that came to you naturally? Is this a pose that would be natural to you?
Yes, it did. It did, and it does. I think that when the press first took an interest in me, they send along a photographer, and you just do what you're told. And then over the years, you just kind of think, no, I'd like a wee bit input in here. So it's a kind of collaboration. And what Ian's, he's too shy to say that. My favourite from that series is the close-ups that he did, and that was his idea. That was my idea, which fortunately he liked, and fortunately the judges liked. But the best out of that photo shoot is the ones that he took close-up. I look really handsome.
So over the years, you gain confidence in your own abilities to what you see and what you prefer?
Well, I work from photographs anyway, so I mean my camera is, Ian would find it embarrassing, the camera I use, it's like a bloody Kodak Brownie, worse. But over the years, you develop an eye for a composition, and so, before Ian came, I thought, I had just bought that painting at the Battersea Decorative Fair, and I was really keen to sort of include it, because it's to me, it's got a bit of sex appeal, and stilettos as well. That's become a kind of trademark of mine. I like a woman in stilettos.
Well, talk to me more about your stilettos. Do you have a certain pair, or it's a varied collection?
I have got a collection of stilettos, but I've decided not to put it on display because I was once interviewed by a lady who I won't name, but she looked at my collection of stilettos and she said, "Now, does that really get you going?" And I had to say to her, I was younger then, I said, yes it does. But she went further than that. But I said, no, I have no comment to make on that, on any talk about an orgasm. Right?
So please talk to me more about the experience as a sitter. So that obviously it varies between photographer. How would you make a connection with a photographer that you haven't had a photography session before with?
Well, I mean, I've always thought that I could get on well with a photographer, because we're both creative, and I think that this was a good example of just cooperating with each other. Is that Ian very kindly recognised that I felt quite strongly about getting this painting in, and me just on this chair with the stilettos at my feet. And he kindly said, "Yeah, okay, we'll go for that." And then, halfway through it, he said, "Right, I want some close-ups," and and I said, "Right, okay." And
there's an interesting. There were a couple of moments in here. I think the stilettos. Jack said, "Look, can we put the stilettos in?" They're very indicative of him and his style. And I thought, absolutely. And they were originally sitting very straight. So I ran forward and kicked one over because I wanted the red sole, because the red sole reflected, it works, it reflects up here. And I had Jack sitting there, and he said, "Do you mind if I smoke it?" And I said, "Actually, Jack, just hang on for a minute, just hang on," because I like the tension in the photograph of him waiting to smoke. It says a little bit more about him than if it's lit somehow. And I like that detail. There's a lot in there that actually it draws the eye. The shape's good. I'm not sure whether you're so keen on your countenance, but there's a little thing in there. It's a character.
I think that as a sitter, you have to try and keep vanity at bay. But in my vanity, I suppose I'm weak for somebody to make me look good. It's kind of validation, or it's for a photographer to kind of just to make me look really bloody interesting. And I think he's done that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. What do you think makes a good photograph?
A good portrait of someone, or a good photograph? A good portrait, it has to capture something about the person, the sitter. I mean, it has to engage the viewer to ask a question. Why is somebody even taking the time with this guy? You and I know it's Jack Vettriano, but if you didn't know that Jack Vettriano was an artist, or that he was interested in women and shoes, and you'd still ask the question. So there's something about that works as a representation of the man himself, and I think that's really important, actually. And you don't always get that. I mean, I don't always get that. I try to get that, but that's the interesting part about capturing a photographic portrait, and also painting portrait. I can't paint to save my life, but I can take pictures.
Do you have any tips for aspiring photographers?
I don't, because I'm a painter. But what I've always tended to kind of say is that I think benefit from. I mean, I only became a painter when I was 40, and I had lived a life, and so I've been very observant in my life, and I think that's helped me. And I just think that years on this planet are not wasted, and if you have if you manage to live a life and then you turn to your career, you've got that to rely on, and it's served me very well.
Tips for a photographer, a young photographer's trying to start, anybody. Persistence, practice, try lots of different methods, work bloody hard, and always try and get paid.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you.